What's good, y'all? You dub back here again in 2020. Let's get it. April has started. Man, this year's moving along. A lot of people have a lot of different thoughts about it. I wanted to come in here and talk about some of these scientific discussions, which I do from time to time. I do it more so with different people I run into on Discord and whatnot. But the concept of the multiverse. Now, some folks, some writers, some authors, they don't even want to touch the concept of multiverse. You have a lot of fans that get pissed off and like, this is too complicated, plot holes, and this doesn't make sense, and da da da. Listen, bro. Listen. Understand something. When you're doing something with a concept like the multiverse, I've said it before, multiverse solves all problems. If you're a writer, it solves everything. If you want to go into something of multiple possibilities. Some can even go dream states and da da da. You can get into some pretty wild stuff if you really want to. But you're going to inherently run into some problems with the multiverse depending on the model that you use. See, it's not so much that the writers themselves are causing plot holes or problems. It depends on what kind of model that they're using. And in the same sense of hypothesizing for scientific endeavors and queries, you run into these same things. So, in this video, as you see, we're going to talk about the top 10 flawed multiverse models. Now, there's a lot of different thoughts on multiverses. In fact, DC uses two or three concepts, and I'll be referring to. Marvel uses one or two. The Dragon Ball multiverse you saw in Dragon Ball Super and read it, like they introduce a similar concept to some of what DC and Marvel use. I don't know how many multiverse theories. I have my own thoughts on the possibilities of a multiverse, what different universes would entail and such, and we'll talk about some of those in this video as to my observing the different flaws in these different thoughts. But definitely let me know what you think. If you think I missed some things, because I'm definitely no expert. I'm no expert physicist. I'm definitely not a theoretical physicist. Um, could some of this stuff be true? Sure, but just give me the evidence. A lot of this stuff I just don't see any evidence empirically, as well as from a logical perspective. So, and as well as a rational perspective. So, without further ado, let's start this thing off. First off, the commonly called branch theory. Now, there's probably multiple ones, and I'm going to utilize the most elementary form of branch theory because we see it utilized so many times in fiction. This is the biggest, the largest usage and portrayal of a multiverse you ever see. Think of a tree branch. Pretty much from a specific point in time, a large event occurs and it branches off into another universe and whatever. Causality of effect. There are so many flaws. And like I said, there are other ways to do branch theory, but this is the most common portrayal. Now, there might be other ways of doing this that are more reasonable and rational. But if this is what you're going to go by, branch theory, nah, it's not cutting the mustard. This is probably the weakest of all the arguments on this list. Okay, so here's the problem. What is the original branch? You can say, well, that doesn't matter. An infinite web. Okay, so what made that event so particular that it caused a break in the space-time continuum? That it produced an entirely different universe, which will somehow play by the same rules. Do you understand the universal the impact of such an event? Such an event has to be so cataclysmic. Now, I understand how you could say, well, they're just trying to sell stories. Cool. The concept is intriguing, but the practicality makes no damn sense. Because does that mean destruction? Does that mean that possibly you would have to go to some deified sentient creation or some kind of impartial force, some higher level force would have to create it? And why would it be on the whims of humanity? That would be kind of egotistical. It falls apart on any second or third level thought. Okay, it's very, very superficial. Cool concept. But the reality is it has no bearing. You can come with a 20 different questions as to why, how, for what purpose. Why is this event over this event? And why would any event cause a specific birth of a new universe going forward? And then, of course, somehow the universe past that was just born is identical to the other. Now, in the future, I may play with this kind of concept, but in a story I write, but it won't be on this reality. It will be more of a analysis. It'll be storytelling, but it won't be for the sake of, oh, multiverse theory confirmed. No, nothing like that. More so alternate shenanigans. Kind of like Marvel's What If. Now I like those that presentation because it's like if you want to take it that the multiverse exists, cool. If not, these are just fantasy stories. So it's in the realm of imagination, which is a whole separate thing, which is a really cool concept. So that would mean that thoughts would go into it. But Marvel What Ifs kind of go into another one of these potentialities. Second, parallel universes. A lot of people like the idea of parallel universes. This kind of goes into your what if stories. What if, for example, Marvel, Spider-Man, Peter Parker never got rid of the symbiote, from him. Uh, let's see. What if, I mean, you have the entire Dark Multiverse in DC Comics, so you can go with that. Or what if the Elseworld stories in DC? What if Batman got the Green Lantern ring instead of Hal Jordan, Batman Bruce Wayne? Things like that. Parallel universes, they mimic, not mirror, because we're going to get to that later, but they mimic our universe. They're just certain key differential things. Now, this would mean for well, you get a few different examples of this possibility. Okay. Um, One is that everything's going on, and there's like an infinite parallels, and each person um can go. Now, what if you go one way or go another? Some go that way, which again gets into rational. When you start reducing it rationally, it goes into an infinite cycle of just impossibility because why is it that there are so many different aspects and then that means that every individual action, meaning there's an infinite possibility on that, you come into mathematical implausibility to the point of it's not realistic. To the second thing of parallel to our world, once again you run into the similar problem as branch theory as to why is that certain events, why why are they going directly, what differentiates between the two, the small differences. I guess you could say that there are key artifacts or there are key concepts and universal consistency across the multiverse. If you want to go at that path, it's a lot more ground to stand on than branch theory. I still have my problems about why would a different universe even adhere to the same universal laws and standards of our own universe. Maybe our understanding of the universe would be completely different. Some play it like that. This is a lot more ground to stand upon. I just think from what I conceive of the concept of a multiverse, that this is still a bit lacking in substance. You still have at least five fundamental questions that you have to ask. But like I said, this is a hell of a lot better than the branch theory. I'll give people who at least hold to parallel universes, while I say maybe parallel dimensions, or alternate universes, but parallel universes, at least you have a good hypothesis for this being true. Moving on to time travel. Some put it to where if individuals time travel in the past or the future, they alter the timeline, thus producing other universes. This is similar to branch theory, causality effect. While in concept it's phenomenal, because I'm into a lot of things like Legends of Tomorrow. They do a phenomenal job with time travel, but for the most part, they at least keep it, or you have to fix the timeline because you can alter the course of history more so than creating a different universe. And that kind of makes a hell of a lot more sense. I don't really usually see anyone promoting time travel as a form of creation of the multiverse, but I've heard it discussed. It probably lacks even more substance than branch theory does, so we're not going to talk too much on that. If we want to discuss that more in depth, we can in the comments, or I can make an entirely different video. Moving on. Causality of infinite possibilities. It's a fancy way, if you will, of saying pretty much an infinite amount of possibilities can be had at any time. Anything that you think of can be done. Now, if you want to say the realm of thought itself gives access to glimpses of what's possible out there, sure. Visions, dreams, and whatnot, absolutely, I can see that. For example, certain forms of mythology, if you really look at it, what's to say that's not a glimpse or a window into another universe? One universe where 2 plus 2 equals 5 instead of 4. Okay. If you want to go that path, then absolutely. But if you want to just say that there is just because of the nature of the universe, we're uncertain of things, we're going to hypothesize that there are an infinite amount of possibilities that exist. That makes no sense. From a logical and rational standpoint, it makes no sense. There's no empirical evidence that that kind of thing even exists on our in our universe. Now you could say that we're limited in our universe. Well, cool. Okay. Are you saying that in another universe the laws of thermodynamics just cannot work? Is that's an infinite that's in the realm of infinite possibility. Okay, so if the laws of thermodynamics do not work in said universe, then what will be the repercussions be? Are you willing to say that some universes die? Are you willing to say that some universes can't produce life? If you're willing to go on that aspect, okay, I still don't see how you come to the conclusion of an infinite amount of universes. Maybe a finite, maybe a large uh, possibility. Maybe some universes are born and die younger than ours. Possibly. Maybe some exist before or after ours. Cool. It's just a concept of infinity. It's just like someone just people say hand wave, just someone just writing a check with infinite zeros. It means nothing. You need something to validate it, for at least from a logical standpoint. Even if you can't give me an empirical way of where you coming up with this seeming foolishness, at least give me some reason, some credible resource to even get where one is proposing that. Okay. Um Christ, if you look at DC or Marvel and the way that they present infinite, it's infinite possibilities based off of a main universe is pretty much what they're going by, or infinite possibilities of similar universes. They're not going infinite possibilities of fully infinite possibilities, because some things wouldn't even sustain from what we at least understand of the universe, a birth of a universe. You see what I'm saying? Not every Some aspects formulaically have to be set in place for the creation of a universe to begin with. Same thing with a planet. Okay. So unless the rules are so far different, but even if it was a magically based universe, there still had to be rules. There are always rules. So in the existence of there being rules of the existence itself, thus you can't have an infinite possibility because rules limit. By the nature of the existence, there are rules. So I thoroughly think that one is debunked. Coming in at fifth, mirror universes, meaning there's one way of, just like you have a mirror where it's the opposite, another is it mirrors our own. There's a bunch of mirrors, and from there are small changes. Is this possible? Similar to parallel universes, sure. The problem is, once again, why? What causes things to mirror each other? Why would things inherently be similar? Now, you could say that it mirrors about the identity of people, but maybe folks are completely different. Let's say there's me, but in a mirrored universe, I have a completely different personality. I come from a different family. Don't know how exactly that mirrors a mirrored universe is a strange concept to say the least. It's eccentric. Um, I think it's flawed because I don't see the foundational basis of it. At least with parallel universes, I could see the argument for it, even if I disagree with it. But for a mirror, one would have to deep dive with me on that one to even further try to sell me on that one. So far, parallel universes are the best option I've seen out of what I consider flawed models. Number six, wormholes. Oh, jeez. Okay, so whether it be the concept of the black hole leading, if you're able to pass through the extreme gravity and mass singularity craziness of the center of a black hole and pass on through the other side, or are there different wormholes in reality, or different points to where wormholes open up in reality and they're gateways to another universe? How the even if they exist, how the hell do you travel through them, especially safely, excuse me? Do in order, or maybe you open it up when you go faster than the speed of light. Okay, so are we bending time and space? And even if you're bending time and space, how would that lead access to another universe? Not only that, and let's just say that wormholes create universes. Like there's just grand cosmic, like just vaginas. There's a lot of just vaginas. Wormhole vaginas producing uh universes, for lack of a better term. I mean, let's be honest. That's kind of what they are. So these wormhole vaginas are just spouting out universe, which means there's like a production of universes. This is this sci-fi. This is some Lovecraftian, Cthulhu lore kind of stuff. Like there's this grand like outer versal, whether it be embodied or disfigured nebulous that just produces these things. Okay, I mean, if you want to believe that, sure. I don't even know where to go with that. But whether you're talking connective points and all are connected at certain points and it's like a chain, or maybe they aren't all inherently connected, but one's connected with another. Let's say instead of uh, Earth being connected, let's say this was Earth 1. All right, our universe is Earth 1. And instead of the prime or for Earth 0 and Earth 2, or maybe there are multiple points, and one connects to Earth 3, maybe one connects to Earth 49, and whatever the case may be. Sure, but I don't really see it. And just the birth of a wormhole, why wouldn't it destroy? Why would it allow for the creation rather than destruction? It would seem to be more of a distortion in space time itself. Those are just my perspective on it. I maybe somebody could clarify for me the existence of wormholes, but I don't really see it as plausible, at least in the effects of various universes. Maybe wormholes exist the creation of a new universe. Then that would cause a scar in space and time. Maybe wormholes do exist, but as far as evidence for a multiverse, I don't really see it. Coming to number seven, digital theory. Whether it be digital physics or you look at the world of the digital, whether you see computers or otherwise, and how they're created. Now, on one hand, universe is being created from information, and it's all information. Okay, is this, whether people consider physical, is this all a simulation? You at least have an argument, because I've heard this simulation theory. You at least have an argument on a digital basis. Now, can you prove it? See, this one, along with parallel universes, are probably the strongest arguments I've ever seen when it comes to modern, common interpretations of multiverses. Is this all just a digital? Is it all just ones and O's, binary code, and things of that nature, or certain formulae that produce universes? Sure. Okay, I can go with that. But we're still left with the same questions. How did universes start? How are they sustained? What are these different laws of the universe? Even if you say this is a digital, it's all this digital. There's still codes. You're still left with the same problems, whether it be digital or physical. So you're still left with the same questions at the end of the day. You're just presenting a different lens on it, a different possibility. Cool. We made no progress at that point. Moving on. 8. Vibrational barriers. Now, I know in DC between Earths 1 and 2. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry for that for a second. Anyways, in DC, um there are different frequencies that, for example, the Flash can vibrate at a certain frequency. It can get them to Earth 2, Earth 3, and such. Vibrational frequencies is all attached at different frequencies, and you can go between. It's an interesting thought. I've considered it. I've conceived it. This is another more plausible one. The problem that you're encountering is, number one, how would you even find that? Two, what kind of frequency or vibration are we going at? Like, is it even attainable? Is there something other than the electromagnetic spectrum that we haven't come across yet? I'm not sure. It just leaves a lot of questions, and I don't see any answers. And maybe our technology is just not there yet. This one I can table. I just see the flaw in it that we have no empirical analysis of it. There is nothing to suggest that this exists, but at least it's a more plausible possibility on the table that we put out there. I don't have too much more to say about that at this time, though. Coming up, number 9, string theory. Pull my hair out. All right, so string theory. All right, all right. Is string theory a thing? If you believe string theory is a thing, cool. I've never seen any evidence. It still confuses me this day. I was just looking it up once again before I did this video. All is connected on a string of reality. To me, this is nothing more than just mythical, honestly. I don't understand how, okay, let's just say there are fundamental aspects of the universe. Cool. Number one, how would that connect to another universe? And why would another universe play by the same rules? You always come back to the same questions for me: causation, origin, mechanism, purpose. Causation, origin, mechanism, purpose. And while origin and causation sound similar, they're not. You can have an origin. Somebody could create a tool. Okay. Somebody could create a tool, but if you don't know how to use a tool, you don't, there's the mechanisms of the tool. You might understand how they work individually, but if you don't know how they work in conjunction to create the causation, okay, of the ability, then it's no bueno, right? So the thing about string theory is, where is any evidence? First of all, even in this universe, I need some evidence that string theory even makes sense. Like this vibrational one dimension, like this is all just some theoretical mumbo jumbo. I don't even think it's theory. It's hypothesis based on ideas at this point. And some can say, well, what about this when this is written? Show me any evidence that string theory can even exist in this universal plane before we even begin to discuss another universe, right? People, I remember for years, like people were just so gung ho. Fortunately, in recent years, I've heard the flames die down. But there were so many people that are like, yeah, this is the thing, string theory, string theory. You try to get them to explain, no one really knows. If no one can explain this, there's a problem. It probably means it doesn't exist, bro. Or you gotta study, you gotta read this, man, please stop it. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? And last but certainly not least, random spontaneous bursts. Now, I kind of alluded to this with the whole wormhole vagina thing. Pretty much, this is like a combination between the wormhole vagina and the infinite possibilities. Like, just universes just boop, boop, boop. Like, they're just babies out of an infinite wedlock. Like, they just happen. Or asexual reproduction. Like, it just happens. And they just are just randomly born. There's no rhyme or reason. They just are. And somehow they have mathematical properties and scientific properties. Man, it makes no damn sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. Chaos never produces. organization. Let me repeat that. Chaos never produces organized situations. Okay? Chaos is produced. Chaos doesn't happen naturally. That's not how the world works. Show me at one point in nature, in biology, where chaos happens. That's it. Spontaneous occurrences or phenomena, anomalies and phenomena. That can occur, sure. But that doesn't make it chaotic. Think about that. Where in nature do you find chaos? Is a hurricane chaotic? Nope. It's a system of thunderstorms. Tornadoes, any natural disaster you can come on is not chaotic. We can literally see the cause of its, advancement. A volcano, uh, avalanche, tsunami, earthquake, you name it, right? Blizzard. All of those are explainable. Magnetism is not chaotic. Gravity is not chaotic. The laws of thermodynamics most certainly are not chaotic. Newton's three laws of motion aren't chaotic. Any force in the universe that we are aware of are not any force. They're not chaotic. It's not chaotic. So why would chaos thus produce universes? And maybe you could say, well, you're just going according to this universe. Fine. And maybe I'm admitting that another universe is chaos. But chaos, from everything I've ever understood about how life works, life is not chaotic. Sex isn't chaotic. If sex is chaotic, it's because those who are involved in that activity are the ones producing chaos. Politics, societies, and whatever. Chaos is only formed when two or more entities interact. It's not just a singular entity. A singular entity cannot create chaos. They can recreate a disturbance. An individual can create a disturbance, sure. Now, chaos, maybe they can utilize others to help create chaos inadvertently, but chaos cannot be performed by itself. For example, if you utilize the scene from The Dark Knight with the choice between the two ships, Joker was a quote unquote agent of chaos, not an anarchist, but an agent of chaos, right? But it took other individuals to actually create the chaos. You see, you can be the spark, but there has to be a powder keg as well. So chaos, I've never seen produce anything. Let me know. Maybe I'm missing something. Chaos it only destroys, or it leaves a destructive weight for someone to overtake or to reform something else. Chaos itself doesn't do anything. It just burns. It's an inferno. Okay. Unexpected one to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the this video, and if you want me to discuss any other further content. I've been thinking about. I was debating between this video over the last couple days, which almost dropped this like the other day. I was debating between this video and doing common descent in the quote unquote theory of evolution. I have a lot to say about the quote unquote theory of evolution and things of that nature, and I might break that up over multiple videos. So if you want me to talk about that stuff, absolutely request it. Or if there's any specific scientific, philosophical, economic, any mathematical discussion you want me to pursue, we can have that discussion on here on this channel. And in the comments, excuse me, jeez. Just be civil and respectful. If you disagree with me, cool. Please tell me why you disagree with me. First and foremost, so we can have that discussion. Because I'm always willing to learn. All right, y'all. Peace. Stay safe and just stay safe out there. Be smart out there, y'all. Don't do stupid stuff.